What else? Yeah, you saw you saw Aguero's apology for missing the penalty, did you? I mean, that's one of the many reasons I didn't become a professional athlete is because I would not apologize for that kind of shit, man. I mean, I was like, you know who I am. I'm Sergio Aguero. Everybody goes to score this club. That's the last thing I do is apologize for
the
the.
statue of me.
Like, if it got to the point where Pep had come in and broken my spirit to that amount,
Yeah.
I wouldn't still be there. I wouldn't be a professional enough to be like, no, you know what? I signed a contract. I'm like, no, fuck this. I'm throwing my toys out the pram. This is ridiculous. And then coming on and
whatever I want.
missing the penalty and Pep presumably giving you silent treatment and feeling so bad you have to tweet out an apology for missing a penalty. Oh my god, I'd rather fucking play anywhere else than be that way too professional from.
What a way to
Liverpool.
end his career at City. Be like, I'm sorry.
I know, yeah. Sorry for missing a penalty. I mean, look, it's bad. I had this argument with somebody. It was like the Panenka, like it is just a decision. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
it's
Same as
no
like when you
different to
go,
hitting it left or right. Yeah.
yeah, like it's like I didn't mean to. You know,
Yeah. The
that's
keeper didn't move. I didn't know he was going to do that.
that's the defense. I didn't mean to. It's like when you kick it, a few inches wide. It's like, why'd you do that? It's like I was trying to kick it in the goal. It's like I was trying to fool the keeper to dive, and I would chip it in over him.
The keeper always moves.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the argument would be, well, why didn't you chip it to the right instead of down the middle? Down the middle feels like you're trying to embarrass the man, and now you've been embarrassed. But essentially, it's just a decision. It's just kind of like
Yeah.
I thought this would work. I mean, the one that I remember is do you remember in the Euros in 2012, Joe Hart was like trying to put off all the Italian players, and it's just Joe Hart's kind of personality, kind of
Yeah.
you kind of big English head in him. Let's just say that. Um,
You waited and then said it in the most offensive way you could.
well, you'd be surprised what things are going on. I could have said worse. But nevertheless, he was doing all that. I was like, oh, look at this fucking gobshite. And he wasn't being like, oh, I'm an arsehole. I think I'm better than these Italian players. He was genuinely trying to be as annoying as possible
Yeah.
to put them off. And then Pirlo took the penalty and then he panked it down the middle. And it's like, oh, Pirlo, done him, put him in his place. And then after the game, Pirlo's like, no, I was just watching the tape before and he dives pretty early. So I thought if I chip it, I'll have a pretty good chance of putting the ball to goal. So that was kind of that. I don't care about Joe Hart in the slightest.
Who is Joe Hart?
Like,
no, honestly, that is nonsense. Nonsense. All nonsense. But listen, I've been on that road before. Nonsense. Talking nonsense. Why should we accept somebody talking nonsense? Like, what would you say? Just why are you talking nonsense about us? Why are you talking rubbish?
hello, everybody, and welcome to a No Nonsense podcast with Cahill and Will. It's almost over, Will. we almost done half a season of podcasting on a
You would
season
think
of
we've been
football.
doing this. I can't believe it's only been half a season as well. It feels like forever.
And really, it's been like towards the end of January, so maybe not even a full half a season. But to cast your minds back to our legacy fans who remember the first episode, you were right, Will. Newcastle were too big to fail.
Yeah, forever. They'll never fail.
And I was thinking with this a lot, more than I probably should. Of how much credit I'm willing to give you on that. I give you some credit because your initial point was that their full team is too good to go down. They're not that bad. They're not one of the three worst teams in the league. But you didn't know when you said that St. Max and Wilson were like indefinitely injured. You just hadn't watched them. Yeah, they're pretty good. It's like they haven't been playing well recently. No, they're St. Max and Wilson. They're not playing. So I'll give you the credit that you were right that they have a pretty good team in terms of players, and Steve Bruce is a pretty experienced manager in comparison with Sheffield and Scott Parker and all that stuff. So I mean, yeah, they made a run when they had their full team. They were better than we probably get credit for one.
They were better than we thought. They were never going to win a game again. about 2 or 3 weeks ago when we looked at their fixtures, and it's been no problem. It's been pretty easy for them.
Yeah, I mean the running is still bad. The last few games aren't winnable games, some you'd say on paper. But we looked at, they had Leicester, Liverpool, and West Ham to play, and they beat Leicester and West Ham and drew with Liverpool.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, well, that was 7 points. We thought that would be 0, and we were waiting for that final between Fulham and Newcastle at the end of the season, and with 2 games to go, Fulham were now relegated. It's all
Doesn't
over
matter anymore. Oh, we had our hopes pinned on it, and now it's gone.
And a few weeks back, I'm thinking how long back now, but like a couple of months back, Fulham looked like the informed team.
Yeah.
There was training ground bust-ups at St. James's Park, and it looked like they were destined to go down. Fulham were going well, playing well. Newcastle were playing terribly. They were missing players. I think it was Matt Ritchie called Steve Bruce a coward for singling him out. And they had so little options that they had to play Matt Ritchie, and we're thinking, Jesus, like that's a hostile work environment for that's not where you want to go and try and get a result. But
it seems like as soon as Fulham had a chance of staying up, they immediately started bottling it. It was like they were winning when it was still kind of distant, and it was like, okay, we're still fighting for this. Now it's like, you're going to do it. They haven't won since.
No, I mean they've lost 6 of the last 7, I think.
I saw my boy Tony Khan getting some quite harsh tweets his way because Fulham were, what was it? It was like they were relegated once in 20 years or something like that, and then since Tony Khan's come in, they've been relegated 3 times.
Yeah,
with him as owner and director of football.
I mean, I'll say that. I mean, that doesn't look good. On paper, Tony, that doesn't look good. I will say there's probably a million other reasons why Fulham have fallen behind the likes of Man City and Man United in the last 20 years. But maybe a case of wrong place, wrong time, and not enough money for Tony Khan to be a owner of a football club, especially in the Premier League. But yeah, they're relegated now, along with West Brom and Sheffield. West Brom were relegated by Arsenal.
God, a dull end to the season.
Yeah, I mean, usually there's a team that makes a run. You know what I mean? And it was never going to be Sheffield. It was unlikely to be West Brom. Fulham were kind of our hope to like a great escape, and it just petered out miserably. Just loss after loss.
When you're the must-win game to stay up is against Burnley and you lose 2-0, you never had a hope.
No. Because Burnley had their own flirtation with relegation as well.
Yeah.
But Sean Dyche never let that happen again.
Not on his watch.
No. And Newcastle, like you say, they were the ones that you thought might go down, but they have had some very unexpected wins in the last while. So, but again, they're all rise on St. Maximin and Wilson.
Yeah.
I know Wilson's just signed, but you can't imagine St. Maximin slipping there next season.
Surely not. Unless maybe if they get a new manager, he might stick with it. But you're not going to play under Steve Bruce when you're that good again.
I mean, surely somebody will come in from. I know money will be tighter this year of all years, but I mean, still, any
Leicester
kind of team above
Everton or someone like that.
Yeah, I'm not even meaning that'll be necessarily a good move for him. One of those moves that, like, oh yeah, he get a big move. He'll go to like a West Ham, Everton.
Yeah.
Won't play for half the season and go to Trabzonspor in January, and that'll be the last time you see Sam Maximin. But like, for Newcastle, they really looked desperate without him.
Yeah,
I think they do well if they lose him and Wilson or either or, and they don't bring in some serious recruits, that they could be in danger next season, depending on how good Norwich and who are the others that come up from the Championship.
Norwich, Watford, and then it's the playoffs still.
On the playoffs, yeah. I mean, sometimes like this season, obviously West Brom and Fulham came up and went straight back down again. But other seasons, if the promoted teams are a bit bad, something like Newcastle, they rode their luck. Like that's what I'm saying. They'd be lucky to stay up next year if they play as bad as they did this year.
There probably won't be another Swansea that's like way down there, relegated in March or whatever. Like, so that's one team you have to worry about extra next season.
Then. So yeah, that's the end of that little storyline that we were desperately trying to push for the last few months about relegation final. Unfortunately, that's not to be.
Do any of the final day games matter now? Really?
For top four, I think is probably where the most excitement, if you can call it that.
Probably.
I mean, Leicester. You'd have to feel bad for Brendan Rodgers, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Because I mean, obviously the manager gets a lot of credit and gets a lot of stick when it's it's like when you win, the manager's a genius, and when they lose, it's all his fault. And really, there's 11 players on the pitch, and there's all these other injuries and everything else. But like, he does have a knack for blowing it at the last hurdle.
And extended blowing it over the last month every year.
Like their fixtures we were looking at, they have United today. They also have Chelsea then, the FA Cup on Saturday. And then Chelsea again on the Tuesday after that, 3 days later.
Christ.
So that's the thing. It's like, they won't win them both.
Yeah.
And they have to. Like, you want to win the FA Cup final, but like, if you lose to Chelsea, then the next game is Tottenham. So potentially they could lose all those 4 games, lose the FA Cup final, and not get top 4. And I mean, you have to put this Leicester squad on suicide watch after that, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, what an end to a season, like.
Yeah.
And then like the likes of Maddison, Harry Barnes don't make the England team. It's just like a long summer, social distancing points for those boys. That'd be rough. So yeah, I mean, I'd be surprised if they do. And the problem is that the other teams knocking on the door. Liverpool, for one, have a pretty good run in. West Ham are also there. Chelsea are now ahead of them in the league after beating City.
Somehow.
I mean, that was we call it on the last episode. They're going to play their second teams. What wacky formations are they going to play? Chelsea, or not City, probably had the wackiest, where they had a 4-1-4 formation.
Rodri was running everywhere. The poor man.
I just thought that
the entire midfield, Rodri.
that a poo meme where I could just see like Partey running to Rodri's door saying, how do you like it? Being the only fucking defensive midfielder surrounded by attacking players who don't track back or tackle. I was like, yeah, that's what happens. You don't win many games that way. And it was funny because it was all like the world-class talents that Pep doesn't rate playing for City. Like, you had Aguero, Sterling, and Jesus all playing.
It literally would be. This would be a starting 11 for most other teams in the Premier League.
Oh yeah, I mean, Sterling is the weird one because like whenever Aguero or Jesus are kind of like just finishers, goal scorers, not really going to participate in triangles in the middle of the pitch kind of thing, or not really a Pep player. You could see why they're not really in that mold. But Sterling just kind of lost his place naturally, like you could in any team, to Mahrez, who's playing better. So you can't even blame bloody Pep with his ridiculous tickets. It's like, no, you've got loads of chances that kept missing, so we dropped you, as is the custom in every team.
Mahrez has scored with his other foot for fun.
Mahrez has discovered he has 2 feet. So I mean, Sterling can't just keep getting guilty chances and sky them over the bar and expect to keep playing, especially when Foden, then the other wing, is just doing more. Probably their best player, I would say.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Gundogan is probably one of the shouts. You can't forget what he did early on in the season. But Sterling as well. I mean, he played well at the start of the season, but he went in a run of games there and he just didn't have the end product. So what can you say? It's tough for him. But they all played in kind of an exhibition match of like, I mean, Ruben Diaz played obviously, but so did Laporte, the goalie Moraes, Nathan Ake, Hernandez, Rodri Hernandez. Is it Rodri? Yeah, Rodri Hernandez. Cancelo on the look at the formation here. I can make head or tail of it. Benjamin Mendy was playing like as a number 10.
It looked like a fantasy football formation.
Yeah, yeah, a little bit. Like, why is Benjamin out as a midfielder this year? That's ridiculous. he's a left back. But the big story obviously was Aguero's Panenka penalty.
Yeah.
But before that, the goal they did score, Jesus got the ball, and he does this a bit. Jesus, maybe Pep has broken his spirit to the point where he doesn't want to take shots at goal anymore. But he looked like, again, if it was me, I would have fucking driven off the keeper probably. But he put a ball back across the face of goal to Aguero, who initially looked like he didn't expect it coming, and totally fluffed it. And then Sterling was like barreling towards the goal and kind of ran past him and finished this. I was like, "Hey, all's well that ends well," but not for Aguero, because after at the restart, they're checking, I think, VAR for some kind of foul in the build-up, which gave Aguero time to complain to Sterling to say, "Well, you know, I had it. I was definitely going to. I was just getting my bearings. The first touch was just a precautionary touch that would bring it wide of the goal. And then I was going to, you know, and so I said, listen, man, like there's a guy behind me. I had to kick it in. Basically, not that I was trying to take off your foot. Like I had to kick it in. And the commentator's like, oh, a bit of a friendly banter there. And then they like zoom in on Aguero, and he's clearly like pissed off. Like, this is my fucking life, man. Like, I need to score that one. And Sterling was like, yeah, you fucking did need it, and you didn't. You know, it's kind of like, it wasn't as kind of bantery as they wanted to make out. It was like, he was genuinely mad about it.
Well, Sterling needs this too.
Yeah. Well, this is it. Now you got the fucking, when you have the second team living off scraps, like we're all trying to make this Champions League final.
They'll eat each other alive.
Yeah, they'll eat each other fucking alive down there in the pit. The hounds. Don't feed the hounds for a week. They'll eat each other. I mean, the first, like, and that's what I said, when it came across first, it looked like he didn't expect it, but when you on the replay, he did. He watched it all the way and just messed up the touch. I was like, oh, like that's just a player who doesn't have confidence, a player who's not fucking used to getting in his positions those season. But he did get his chance because they got a dodgy penalty again made by Jesus for Aguero, putting a plate for him. Well, we all know what happened from there. The Panenka.
He walks up to take it. He walks by Sterling. He's like, watch this.
Yeah. Watch this hot shot. It was grim enough. And then the apology afterwards was just, you know, how the mighty have fallen.
Never apologize for anything.
No. I mean, the end result is that City don't win it this weekend. They didn't win it. United won to beat Aston Villa as well. So I mean, they have to wait till next weekend to possibly take it. Who knows? I mean, if there is genuine infighting in Man City, or is it just kind of on the pitch stuff for like, you know?
Well, he still has the A team to play as well, which is like the ultimate superstars, so they'll get it done surely. Like,
yeah, who do they have next? Actually, City. Who next?
Brighton, maybe it's Brighton or Everton, I
think. Newcastle. A resurgent Newcastle. Man United could win this, Will.
Nah, they have to win 5 in a row. 5 in a row, included 2 in 3 days or whatever.
Yeah,
and no Maguire as well. So
yeah,
not a hope.
So Man City play Newcastle, then Brighton, then Everton in the last 3 games.
I think they need a point.
And they need a point. I mean, it would be. The only thing is, it's not inconceivable.
Yeah.
The only thing is the way this Newcastle team has been playing, like it's not kind of like they've been grinding out results. They're kind of like on a high. So like, just because they're now safe, I don't think they'll stop. I think they're probably been enjoying themselves for the first time this year. So like they want to keep playing and playing well. So that said, if City play the full team against Newcastle, it's curtain for them. Like there's no chance. And City don't have anything until the Champions League final on 29th of May in terms of like other competitions. So you'd imagine that they'll probably wrap it up against Newcastle. Chelsea though, I mean, you say City played a wacky formation and their B team. Chelsea kind of as well. And like we spoke about, like the reason that they're in the Champions League final is because their B teams are, A teams for most of the teams, and they've been pretty lucky enough with injuries in that respect as well. So it was a strange one, like, because you think, oh well, if Chelsea played their full team against City's B team, but Chelsea played their B team as well. So where we gone?
Again, they don't want to give anything away, like we were saying.
Yeah, it was more kind of that. It was more like, we don't want to show them how we play, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, they had pretty much most. They don't like I say, they don't have as big a team as City in terms of playing an entirely different 11.
Yeah.
That are fit to play at a Premier League game. But I mean, they played Alonso and Billy Gilmore. Ziyech hasn't been starting, but I mean, he's a new sign this year. So I mean, it wasn't really their B team, but I mean, I don't think they played how they would want to play against City when they play in the Champions League final, is what I'm trying to say. But
there was a clip on Sky Sports News. I can't remember who it was. I think it was like an old Chelsea keeper or something. But they were asking him, like, do you think this will give a psychological edge to Chelsea? And he's like, well, yeah, it could do. Like, that could hurt City. They'll be thinking about that going into the Champions League final. But also, it could rile City up and it could hurt Chelsea. So in a way, probably both, or maybe neither.
wasn't Peter Cech, This has been former Chelsea keeper.
It was
scared from giving his opinions out there.
It was reminiscent of fucking who was it on Match of the Day last week?
Jermaine Genius. It's unfair to ask me because I don't know.
It was very much like, here's a question for you, and he had no idea, so he just talked.
We never agreed. It's you can kind of get into it a bit too deep sometimes to go, like, is it a psychological victory for Chelsea as much as anything like that? We beat you last week, and then our City being like, well, they didn't beat us, they beat fucking Nathan Ake and
to beat Aguero
and Torres,
losers.
Yeah, like for the players who want to play, I mean, you got Ruben Diaz, who will definitely start.
Yeah,
everyone else, even Cancelo or Rodri, not necessarily down to start. Whereas Chelsea, maybe the opposite. Maybe Gilmore and Ziyech and Alonso won't start, but maybe everyone else will. So I mean, it's one of those ones where it's like you can overthink and think, oh well, this is 1-0 to Chelsea in their minds, but you don't really know how it affects the players individually. Maybe they don't give a fuck, And maybe when you get to Champions League final, all the other stuff got out the window. You're not thinking about past victories or past losses. You're thinking, right, win this game now. So,
and as well, now Pep he can just be like, well, we would have won the game if Aguero knew how to take a penalty. So
that's true.
He has that in his locker.
That would have put them 2 up, wouldn't it?
I think so. I could be wrong.
Yeah, because it was Sterling scored on the 44th minute, just before half time.
Yeah.
And it was after half time they got the penalty. And Ziyech 63, Alonso 90 plus 2. So I mean, a late winner for Chelsea. If the game could be done, that would have been. Now I think that would have been a killer.
Yeah.
For Chelsea, if they lost to City's B team while you're playing most of your good players, like, oh fuck, like they can do whatever they want to us.
And Aguero scored a Panenka.
Yeah. Yeah, they embarrassed us actually, and then won the title the same, and then like we're parading the Premier League trophy around.
That coming back from that. I think we've figured out why Aguero went for the Panenka, to destroy Chelsea.
So that was the probably the most exciting game in the league in terms of what was at stake, unless you really fucking get a hard on for top 4, which in that case I don't know what to tell you. But apart from that, I mean, this isn't really a podcast about. It isn't about being insightful or factual. Yeah. This is about us having a good time, But every now and again we can bring some knowledge from around the continent, some roundups of different interesting leagues. And because Premier League's kind of, I wouldn't say petered out. I mean, still there's games going on, but I mean, there is more interesting leagues out there.
Yeah,
for anyone who isn't aware. I watched the Barca Atletico Madrid game. On the weekends. Pretty good as far as the NLs go, to be honest. There was 39 fouls in the game. Now, 26 by Atletico Madrid. So, you could, and mostly on Messi. When I was watching the game, it was mostly Messi getting kicked. But I haven't watched a lot of Barcelona games this year. I watched them in Champions League a bit, but when I watched this game, and I was like kind of blown away by how reliant they are on Messi.
Just give it to him.
Everything goes through him. Like every attacking player started and ended with Messi either passing the ball or taking a shot. And like he took a round off there just after half time, as he's wants to do in his later years.
Yeah.
And it was all Atletico Madrid. Like it totally stopped. Like Barca had nothing planned for when Messi wasn't completely at it 100%. And then he got picked up again and it was back on all Barcelona. But I was like, geez, like where do they go from here?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
What
like,
happens when he's gone?
What happens when he leaves? Like, and he's, we were joking around the season. We're saying about the narrative of like, oh, Haaland or Messi, Ronaldo finished, and Haaland and Mbappe are the new dudes, and obviously they're both top scorer in their respective leagues. But Messi is having like one of his great seasons. 36 goals, 14 assists for him in all the competitions.
That's mental.
And they're not fucking like other years. You might have said, all right, how much does the goals in the Club World Cup count, or the fucking like it's 28 and 11 in the league, 5 goals in 6 games in Champions League and 2 assists.
Well, what's the top scorer in the Prem? Like 20,
21 for Harry Kane, I think. Is it? Yeah, around that 21 or 22. And then it's Coppel 3 goals in 5 games, like 36-14 in 45 games.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous. But like when I was watching the game, I could see why, because it's all going through him.
Yeah.
And I think the second top scorer is Griezmann with like 12 and 11. 12 or 11 goals, I think, in the league. So I mean, I was like, that was kind of what Griezmann did for them. That's what Griezmann did for Atletico Madrid. It was kind of like the ball goes through him, everyone else works hard and kind of gets in the ball, and he kind of creates.
Yeah,
I was like, well, that's why Griezmann isn't playing as good as he has been, because that's Messi's job. You don't need 2 people with the ball going through them.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I say, it was Atletico Madrid were more kind of like we all take a go at kicking Messi so we don't get sent off. But they had a lot more weapons, I suppose you might say. But when I was watching the game, I was thinking, well, obviously for the tackles, for the 39 fouls. Yeah, that's not even tackles. Like the tackles were coming in as well, like the legitimate fouls, like blowing up tackles.
These are the ones the ref said, "Whoa, that's too much."
Yeah, exactly. Because I haven't watched a lot of Barcelona or Atletico Madrid, it was like a bit like watching the Royal Rumble a bit. Because players kept coming on, and I was like, "Oh yeah, him!" Like I was saying, most teams have been affected by the schedule and injuries and stuff like that. So like, a lot of players aren't fit or come back from injury all the time. So like, I was watching the game, and Neymar was very good for Atletico Madrid. He had a few, forays into Barcelona defense in the first half, but he got injured and got taken off. Then Saul Niguez comes on. I was like, oh yes, he's savage. From Saul Niguez after them. So he comes on, and then with all the and Messi, or not Messi, but Barcelona making tackles as well. They made 13 fouls themselves. So like it was a physical game. It wasn't just Messi getting kicked the whole game, but that was definitely part of it. So then Saul Niguez gets eliminated, just like Neymar. He gets taken off again, and João Felix comes out. I was like, oh yeah, João Felix. I forgot he played for them.
Crowd goes wild.
Because it started off kind of like, a real wrestling promo. It was like Messi, Griezmann, Suarez, friends become enemies, enemies become friends. It was all like this kind of hype. But then all these other players kept coming in. And then for Barcelona, then Osama Dembele comes on. I was like, oh yeah, Dembele comes on. And like, who goes off? Dest, the new upcomer Dest gets eliminated. He comes off. Busquets, he gets eliminated. He goes off. And Sergio Roberto comes off. Like, oh, Sergio Roberto, I forgot about him. And I kept going with that. And another player, and it was like very like wrestling, in that like players or wrestlers that I forgot about. Of course, I knew they existed, but just I wasn't thinking about them all the time because there's so many of them. Yeah. A Carrera goes off, he gets eliminated for Atletico Madrid, and Jeffrey Kondogbia comes on. I was like, oh, and I was like, a wrestler hadn't wrestled for years, come back into it, like Jeffrey Kondogbia,
the boogeyman.
For anybody who's reading the transfer rumors about 5 or 6 years ago, he was everywhere, Jeffrey Kondogbia, and he's kind of that's where he is now, Atletico Madrid. Unfortunately, it didn't end with a winner. It ended 0-0, which gave the advantage to Real Madrid, who would at that point, if they won the rest of their games, would win the whole league. But they had their own game against Sevilla, who were also still in there.
They're fourth, aren't they?
As the games they ran out of games a bit, they were becoming outside bets. I'll say that. But they drew 2-2 with them. That's the takeaway. That was probably a better game, to be honest.
So how's the table looking now?
Yeah, I'm trying to get the team up there now. Well, I guess it's the same as it was because all of the top four
All
teams
draws.
drew, right? So nothing actually changes in that regard. So it's Atletico Madrid on 77 points, 35 games played. They all have the same amount of games played, 35 games played by all of them, right? So Atletico Madrid on 77, Real Madrid on 75, Barcelona on 75, Sevilla on 71. So we get into the facts and the fixtures here. Sevilla played Valencia, Villarreal, and Alves. And I know who those teams are, but I couldn't tell you in terms of the form if they're good or bad games for them to play. But I mean, the point is that these are the big games because they don't play each other again. You know what I mean? Like that was like, the top four teams playing each other 2 games to go of the season. It's kind of weird. Yeah. But I think the money is still on Atletico Madrid to hold on. But it's just injuries now at this point, I think.
Yeah, Madrid Did you see Madrid have gotten more injuries than they've scored goals in the league this year?
I don't know about that. I mean, Bento's been banging them in. So
I swear to God, they've scored 58 goals, maybe 60 goals, and I think they've had 61 injuries this season.
Oh, fuck. Yeah. Well, I suppose if you're adding COVID as well, I mean, if that counts as an absence,
Yeah.
I mean, it's been fucking a rough season for them.
That'd be some achievement to win the league then in a season like that, where your team is just getting wiped out every week.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason you wouldn't back Real Madrid to win it, you'd think they're in the best position or ever, but I mean, they haven't been great in the league. Like they've won 4 champions. Like I think Toni Kroos has won 4 Champions Leagues and 2 leagues.
Yeah.
It's like the Champions League. They're a big game team. Like the knockout competition is where they thrive. With the mundane games against the Real Betises and Celta Vigos that they tend to draw. It's like, what the fuck? Like you're better than that, but like, they can get up for a game against Juve. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, we'll fucking start hitting bicycle kicks like no one's business against big teams. But like,
oh, Granada, fuck off, boring.
So yeah, that'll probably go to the wire, which it's interesting. It'd be nice if they had that in the Premier League, but
wouldn't it be nice?
In the Bundesliga, though, that's where the least excitement is happening. Bayern have won their 9th consecutive
Jesus Christ
Bundesliga.
Like it's the Scottish league.
Well, yeah, at least they have Rangers and Celtic. You know what I mean? I mean, sure, Rangers were into a bit of bad spell there, but usually it's kind of back and forth between them.
Could you imagine if Rangers sold all their best players to Celtic every year? That's the German league.
I think I saw a graphic on Instagram. It was like Bayern have like something like 29 leagues and the other German teams have 28. Or it's like something like that. Basically, Bayern have more leagues than everyone else combined.
Yeah.
Which, people are going on about the 50+1 rule and all this stuff. And look, I'm not taking the billionaire side here. Before people accuse me of being again, I'm not doing it again. The last time I was, this time, no. I know. Honestly, I just try and look at things like there's no like good guys and bad guys in this. I think it's important to ask a lot. Don't believe everything Gary Neville tells you. You know what I mean? There's no, this is the right way. I mean, sure, the money coming in from Abramovich and the Sikhs and all that stuff, whatever they do in their other businesses is questionable. I'm not standing up for that. But in terms of making more competitive league,
well, 2 rich teams is better than 1 rich team.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I feel like the ladder has been kind of pulled up in the Bundesliga, where with the 50+1 rule, no one's going to come in and shake things up and kind of challenge Bayern's dominance.
Yeah.
Especially when they just can seem to buy whatever players they want. Like no teams tend to. I
Well,
guess,
they're
but
just
if you,
guaranteed a league every year, so why wouldn't you go there? Like,
it's probably kind of a more like a workers' rights thing of like, you can't tell me I can't work somewhere, kind of thing. You can't keep me
yeah.
under contract. It's probably a good thing in the wider sense of society, but like just players just will go to Bayern.
Yeah.
And like Lewandowski was there. He scored his 39th goal. I think it's one off the record.
That's insane.
Like he won back-to-back titles with Dortmund in 2010, 2011, and then 2011, 2012. Then he went to Bayern Munich the year after,
And he's
still there, and he's won 8 Bundesligas with them, with Dortmund's best player. The last player to beat. You know what I mean? So like, what does that mean for the competitive league? Where like one
How do
team
you
can
break through? Yeah.
against all the odds beat you with just like superior recruitment and just luck and skill and everything else, and then you just buy that player. Well, not even, just wait for Ronaldo's contract, and then he just joins you, and now you hammer that team at the ground with their best player.
Yeah.
While in the process buying players like Goethe and Hummels, and then just discarding them when you're finished with them on your way to winning the league. It's just, it seems like. And again, they're not saying that Bayern aren't a well-run club when they do things professionally, and they
they're doing right. It's just they're so successful in Europe. That's so much money coming in, I'd imagine.
Yeah,
they're just don't have like.
They're not that they're unearned success, but it's just the success is just relentless. It's, how do you stop that? Like, how do you, like, is sport about evening the playing field and having a competitive game, or is it about rewarding the best businessmen?
Yeah.
So yeah. Again, it's kind of a running theme with this podcast where I go on a rant about something I know nothing about. Like, really, I'm in here talking about Bundesliga intricacies. Intricacies.
You can't even say the word.
But whatever, man. Intricacies.
I don't know.
Yeah. For everyone playing along at home, look that word up and correct me.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then there's the Italian league, which similar enough that Juve had won 9 in a row, and they were going for 10 in a row.
And then they got Pirlo. They flew too close to the sun and got Pirlo as their manager.
Yeah,
who had never managed anyone.
They are kind of I don't know. It's weird because I think back to like 2015 when we got to the Champions League final, and it was like, even at the time, people were saying like, this isn't going to be the start of a Juve, team. This is the end of this team's, like, this is the pinnacle of what they're going to achieve. That obviously had Pirlo playing and Marquisio and a young Pogba and I think Tevez maybe up front as well. Yeah. Like, it was kind of like lads who were like maybe wrong side of 30, perhaps, some of them.
Yeah.
And since then, they've come very close to winning the Champions League with different teams.
Yeah.
And they, we said it before as well, like, buying Ronaldo seemed like a really good idea.
It seems like foolproof.
They come very close to win Champions League, and this player had won the most Champions Leagues recently and had knocked him out a couple of times.
They don't really have to pay for him. Like, I think the sponsors paid for him. He was leaving Madrid. He wanted to go. Terrible choice. Awful. I shouldn't have done it.
It's just, and I don't know how many times that happened to me in real life where I usually am maybe not the most sober, where I like say things out of my head and I go, yeah, that makes perfect sense. And then I do go, oh, that was the worst thing I could have done. Why did I do that? That has not worked out at all for me. But yeah, I mean, we're taking the piss a little bit and saying that Ronaldo hasn't worked out at all. I mean, he's still been Ronaldo. It just kind of hasn't worked out for Juve, strangely. Yeah. I mean, they got knocked out by Ajax, Lyon, and Porto.
Yeah.
And like, it was a good Ajax team, no doubt. But like, still in terms of the resources that those three clubs had versus Juve, with Ronaldo on the team, you think this is the guy to get them over the line, and they're now stopping at hurdles that they were getting over before. So I mean, they didn't win their 10th. They didn't win their 10th title. Did you hear that they were making a documentary about their 10th?
Oh, I sure did.
I can't wait to watch that. It will probably never be released. It'll be released in about 10 years under covert operations. But like,
we might get to see Ronaldo murder someone in that documentary.
Yeah.
Did you
So yeah,
hear
I
as
suppose we're
well?
talking a lot about Juve, but it was Inter who won it.
Did you hear the threat that Juve got this week? That if Juve haven't pulled out of the Super League by the start of next season, Serie A has said they're expelled from the league.
Yeah, sorry, we should talk about that too before we move on from
Did
Juve.
you know there's still teams in the Super League?
Yeah, it's Barcelona, Real Madrid, and
Juve.
Juve who are, still hanging on to that.
There must be a last team left pays the bill thing going on.
I don't know. I mean, they're still framing it as kind of like UEFA are a corrupt organization, and we are trying to challenge their autonomy on the game as both regulators and holder of competitions and maker of all the money. Which there is some truth to that. Obviously, UEFA are kind of in a position where they do run everything and regulate everything, and they've had their own issues with corruption. It probably does need to be reformed a little bit because it's kind of painted, like I say, mainly by Sky Sports Gary Neville as like a cash grab, greedy billionaires who want to change it to the NBA and the NFL where you can't get relegated and it's just money after money. But like, they're stick with it for some reason. Like, it's not going to work. You can't have a 3-team league.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know what they're holding on to in terms of a competition, but I mean, I think in terms of the ideal of like we have to challenge UEFA, that's their stance on it. But yeah, the thing is that Juve have been threatened with, if you don't put out for next season, you'll be kicked out of the league. They did it before; they'll do it again.
Yeah, I was gonna say any other league, like if that happened in the Premier, you'd be like, no, they won't. They're lying. Serie A have done this before. They've kicked Juve down before.
Yeah. So I don't know where that's going to end up. I mean, for Juve, is Ronaldo going to stay?
I can't imagine he will. Like, surely because I mean, the longer he waits, the less likely people are going to be to want to pay that money for him. He's going to have giant wages anyway, like still. So I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, obviously he's made loads of money. It's more like, can Juve win the Champions League next year? Because that's what he wants. You know what I mean? Like, he's obviously won 2 leagues with Juve on top of the couple of leagues he won with United and Real Madrid. So I mean, it's not like he needs that. His whole thing is the Champions League. He's a Champions League guy. He just basically kicks the Champions League finals. That's what he does.
I don't know why he left Madrid.
I think he probably looked at the team like everyone else has been saying all year, saying this team's old, the investment isn't there. I don't rate the younger players in. Like, say Vinicius or something like that, like, he's good, but like he's not the same timeline as Ronaldo wants to win now. So I mean, he's probably looking like say for every involved, Juve seemed like a really good move, like a team that's almost there. You get a proven Champions League goal scorer. Come on, how hard is this? And then you lose to Porto and Ajax and Leon. It's like, oh well, there you go. So yeah, I don't know. I think if you were Ronaldo, where would you go to win the Champions League next year? I think that's where he's thinking.
And as well, will those teams want them now after what's happened with Juve? Like, it seems like you get him in, other people have to suffer in your squad, which you might not want to do.
Yeah, I mean, he is, and he's been doing this probably since about 2012, I'd say. Whenever Messi scored that like 90 goals in the season, he's decided he's not going to do any kind of wing play. I'm going to be the guy who scores goals. I'm going to give me the ball. Through balls, I'm going to finish them. He's becoming an out now goal scorer, and he doesn't do a lot else. I mean, I've been watching that Porto game, and he had a few missed touches, and he just didn't do anything else. Like, if you're not scoring the goals, like, he doesn't do much else. So I mean, he's not going to City because like Aguero already does that. He doesn't get to play. They don't like out now goal scorers in Pep's teams. I mean, they want somebody who's going to be a midfielder and all that stuff. Chelsea. I could see him going to Chelsea, actually.
Yeah, I would hate that, but he probably could.
Yeah, well, again, if he wants that, that United legacy, I don't know how much that affects him.
Well, but weirdly, I think because they gave Cavani a new contract.
Oh yeah,
I think they're not going to have Cavani and Ronaldo. Like, what's the point in giving Cavani a new contract? But I wouldn't also rule out United not knowing what they're doing, which is
yeah. We always give these clubs so much credit. Like, no, they know what they're doing, guys. Come on.
I'm pretty sure Ed Woodward, disgraced Ed Woodward, is still in charge at the moment.
Yeah, so he can never pass these. Well, this is why they're all in fucking debt. You know what I mean? Like all those Italian teams are in massive amount of debt. And it's sure it's the pandemic is part of it, but like just kind of mismanaging the funds, like, and you kind of like, no, these are billionaires, they know what they're doing. It's like
UEFA isn't why Messi's on $1.5 million a week or something.
Yeah. The money will never stop coming in. What could possibly happen? It's not prudent, is it, Will? But yeah, Ronaldo is probably because it is the time of season now because Neymar signed a new contract to 2025. Like say Cavani got signed up. This is the time where you wrap up the signings before an international competition before the summer.
Before they play really well and everyone wants them.
Yeah. So Ronaldo I think has a year left, does he, on his contract to the
I think so,
yeah. It's getting that point where if it's not wrapped up now,
you can't let Ronaldo go for free.
Well, not even that, but I mean, if they don't sign an extension for another year, another 2 years, he might go in the summer. If it gets to if the Euro start and Ronaldo still has a year left of his contract, I think he's going to go.
Yeah.
If they like same as Neymar, like they're going the year when it's wrapped up, you wrap up early. It's because both parties are interested. But like if it kind of rumbles on, that means the players like putting out feelers. He wants to see what's out there.
Pogba's contract is up very soon, I think.
Yeah.
And there's nothing about it. I think it's next summer it's up. But like there's no way they want to lose him on a free. So there's definitely something going on there. Like
yeah, especially if Mino Raiola is involved, there's going to be some kind of shithousery involved. So I mean, I'd wonder for Juve where they go from here because the team it does kind of seem like it lacks something. I mean, again, signing Aaron Ramsey on a free, but then putting him on £300 a week wages, like it's not good business. Like you know what I mean? So if you're Ronaldo looking at that team, you're thinking, is this team going to win next year? I don't think so.
But I don't think like Inter are going to win it again next year. I don't think that team is that good. Like Ashley Young is a starter for them still.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
and Darmian as well, who I watched plenty of them. They're not. There's no way they were suddenly just world beaters now. Like,
yeah, no, I'm not sure how. I don't watch lots of Italian leagues. I don't watch any Italian league, but I mean, for Juve not to win, it seems like kind of a disaster for them. Given the Champions League as well, it's not one league, and they're currently in Europa League spots as it stands. So that's the other aspect to it. Where can you see Ronaldo playing Europa League next year with Juve?
Oh, that would be unreal. That would be so funny. Imagine the teams he'd be coming up against. Like,
oh yeah, I mean he'd be mobbed after the game for autographs. I just can't see it. I just can't see him playing Europa League. I think if they don't make Champions League, he's gone. I think that's probably what he's waiting for, to be honest.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if he was the type of person to have a clause in his contract about that as well.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Inter win it. Bayern won the Bundesliga. The Liga is up for grabs, and strangely, Ligue 1 is still up for grabs. PSG are determined to bottle this one away.
Yeah.
They drew with the weekend to I don't know, some team of farmers, who knows. And no, I mean this is the thing where it's like, oh yeah, it's a farmers league and PSG for the money, but I think they're still all really good professional footballers, and
they're pros, like
PSG
international footballers.
Kind of off it a bit this year, and they drew at Rennes 1-1, and Kipembe got sent off for them, so he's out for the season now, I guess, because they only have 3 games left. So it was a straight red. He's out for the rest of the season.
I think he got sent off. Did you see what he got banned for?
The tackle.
Well, I think he got a card for the tackle, but I then think after the game he said a homophobic slur to the ref.
Damn. And is the ref home again?
I doubt it. I'd say he's just saying stuff.
Oh, right. Yeah. Damn. Well, that's not good, is it? That's
not good. That's not a good look.
No. They are 3 points off Lille, who are in 3 points ahead, I suppose. 2 games to go for them. 3 points behind. Who knows? Again, a bad season for PSG, just like Juve. If you don't win the Champions League, which is your goal, and you don't win the league,
which is
and,
guaranteed.
like I said, the good news is they've signed Neymar. The bad news is they're not going to win.
Actually, surprised that he signed with them. Like, this is a weird time to be like, I'm here for 5 years when it seems like it's the worst it's been since he arrived.
Yeah, because we were only saying that the squad looks a bit kind of reliant on him. I mean, maybe
he just knows he's not going to get that money anywhere else.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you want to go back to Barcelona.
Yeah.
If you're Neymar, you think the whole reason he left was, and people say like, oh, he wanted to be the main man, and really, I think it was like he wanted to grow his own brand of as Neymar, which he has definitely done that. Like he's definitely become, to a new level at PSG because he was the main attraction there. Like you might say, oh, Mbappe's a better player or more important to them, but like Neymar is still the biggest star, like no question.
Yeah, easily.
So I mean, if you're behind Messi, you never will be.
Yeah.
So yeah, he might have won more, and Barcelona probably would have been better off. But like, I think the move was to become the brand of Neymar, which he's done that. So you don't go back to Barcelona, then, do you?
You could play as him in Fortnite. That's not happening.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
not happening at Barca.
Exactly. That doesn't happen if you're part of Suarez and Messi and
you're one of three.
You're one of a great team. It just like it was a smart move from a business sense.
Yeah.
And they came pretty close to winning Champions League as well. So I mean, you can't, and they've won as many Champions Leagues as Barcelona have since he left.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, to go back to Barcelona now, from a commercial point of view, which clearly matters to him, it doesn't make sense. To a team, is Barcelona that much better than PSG? Well, it seems that PSG knocked them out this year. I wouldn't say yes or no to that, but it's not like say with Barcelona we're playing like City this year. Yeah. And they wanted you. Like, yeah, that I'd probably win next year going back to them. But like Barcelona are probably in the same situation as PSG where the team could do with a bit of work. It's going to take more than one player to come in. So, yeah, I don't know. If you're Neymar, probably PSG is the best place to be.
Yeah, I think so. I think business-wise makes sense. It's just will Mbappe stay with him, though?
Yeah.
I mean, Ronaldo could go there.
Ronaldo to PSG?
That could work, I'd imagine. They'll find some workaround to afford that, definitely.
No, they can afford it for sure.
Because if you had Neymar, Mbappe, and Ronaldo up front, that's pretty cool. That's like something from a movie.
But then, again, we don't know some of these players have like strange contract stipulations. Does Neymar go, no way, man. I don't want that. That's not happening. Now, maybe he's not that big a say. Maybe I'm overestimating his say in the club. But like, if you are Neymar and you signed, I'm going to make sure this club stays relevant for the next 5 years by having me here.
If he's like, in my contract, I take all the penalties, and Ronaldo's like, I want to take all the penalties.
Yeah.
That's straight away, that's a big hurdle to get over.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's probably better off, but Mbappe is a big one. If Mbappe stays, then I think they still have a chance of, because if you're a midfielder or centre back thing, and that's still a very solid team. But Neymar alone, you're thinking, is just going to be the Neymar show? It's just going to be a big, glorified marketing project for Neymar to continue selling fucking Nikes or whatever, or Jordans, or they had that brand of deal with them. Like I don't know. But yeah, it would be a very bad season for them if they didn't win the league with the resources they have. I mean, the Lille. I was thinking, like, man, I don't know anything about the French league. Who do Lille have? They have Jose Fonte, former West Ham and Southampton player. Remember him?
Yeah.
He's still anchoring the centre back pairing. Which nothing again. No, I'm not having a go. You know what I mean? There's
he's not like he wasn't up to much in the Prem.
He was decent for Southampton about 5 years ago. So I mean, but then also Burak Yilmaz, who you might remember from our international break recently for Turkey.
Oh,
fighting goals. Yeah, he's their talisman up front. Everyone else, not really ringing many bells. Jonathan David,
the Canadian,
could be. Sounds like it.
I think I know him. He's good.
S. Botman, R. Mandava, Jeka, Araju, Bamba, Samare. These are just names, Will. So yeah, I thought they like when they lost to Monaco, that when they had Mbappe and a few others, it was like that was a decent Monaco team. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
this would be kind of, I mean, a bit harsh to say embarrassment because they won it fair and square, but still for PSG they want to win the league at least this year.
Yeah, definitely.
And of course the league that we all care about, the league that you've all been waiting to hear, the Turkish Superliga, the bandwagon wheel. It's back again, folks. You maybe thought it went away, but it didn't. It was always there, playing around in the background, still in 10th. Tough loss there at the weekend there for us. We play again tonight, actually. Sorry, if anyone doesn't know what the bandwagon league is, I know it's the end of the season, really, but bandwagon wheel. We pick a team. No, we don't. We pick a country, and we pick a random team from that country, using a wheel. And then we get on the bandwagon. So using the popular song Wagon Wheel as almost like a parody, we've called it the bandwagon wheel. Now at the start of the season, when we spun the wheel, I think the last thing we said before we landed on our beloved Ghost Step was, I hope we don't get a team that's mid-table and not in contention for anything.
What has happened, Carl?
That is precisely what's happened with Ghost Step. I think when we joined them at the end of January, they were like maybe 8th.
Yeah,
which is still a ways off. Yeah, which is still a ways off Europa League in terms of the Turkish qualification. But it was an outside bet. I thought, that might be something to go on. They've been in 10th ever since, seemingly.
They've won. They've gone on win streaks. They've gone on losing streaks. Nothing has changed.
Yeah, we've had international call-ups for some of our players. and I mean, think about that, folks. I mean, this is the Turkish league. This is a team that's 10th in the Turkish league.
Yeah.
Of all the Turkish players playing abroad and Italy and everywhere else, for one of our players to get a call up, it's a pretty big deal. That's probably the most exciting thing that's happened this year, for them. He has gone off the boil ever since. Yeah, I'm not going to say the stage is too big for him, but
it might be too tall for him. He is very short.
Well, he's the Turkish Messi, is what I've been calling him. Yeah, we lost Kinaspor there on Saturday. Again, another silly defensive mistake, gave away a penalty. We had 6% possession. We're all over them, and then just a silly mistake at the end, and we gave away that goal. Thankfully, the results don't seem to matter, so we're still in 10th. And Kinaspor are 11th. They're right behind us.
Doesn't matter.
They're 3 points. Well, they're 3 points behind us with 2 games to go. So I mean,
we don't want to finish 11th.
Well, 11th would be anything. With the 21 teams in the Turkish Super League, in case you didn't know. So 11th is just mid-table. So we're in top half right now. So we'd like to finish in the top half. That'd be a good season for us. There's 3 points either side of us between 9th and 11th. So it could go either way. It probably won't, but you never know.
I'm pretty sure we play Besiktas, or we play whoever's top in the last day, I think.
Besiktas are top. I don't know if they're mathematics. No, they're still fighting away. Fenerbahce and Besiktas are still fighting away.
Costing them the league would be good.
We play Genlik Siglebergli, and we play Besiktas on the last day.
Who do we play next? Who do we play next?
Yeah. Besiktas on the last day. So yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at right now. I mean, I think what we're hoping for is Halil Akbanar, our captain.
Two hat tricks get on the Turkey team.
He gets on the Turkey team. He's been a bit of a barren spell. Now he has been given the lifeline with the 26-man squads.
Yeah.
I don't know if that'll be enough for him. I don't know how well the other players have been going either. That's the other side of it. It's all about,
Well, he's not getting in ahead of your man who plays up front for who is it you were saying?
Bert Yilmaz.
Yeah. He's not getting in ahead of him.
No, I mean, he's kind of the up front striker. Kind of the only striker Turkey really have. It's more, we have a lot of attacking players Turkey do, wingers and that. It'd be nice to follow him to the Euros. But I mean, as far as goal step is gone, It's been a good season, I think. I mean, for a team like us, we're always kind of looking at relegation, and that's kind of the aim. So once that was secured, that was a pretty good day.
New manager in January as well.
Yeah, rocky start, and then we kind of turned it around. New manager, so hopefully onwards and upwards for Go Step next year. So yeah, 2 games left, and not much at stake. Only pride, I suppose, and possibly an international call up for 1 or 2 of our players.
Yeah, that's what we're really counting on. Is we're just watching Halil do something magic, get on that Turkey team, open the
last
Euros.
game actually. The Go Step game was the 15th of May. Is that the last day of the Premier League as well?
No, that seems soon. I think there's next week as well. Maybe I'm wrong.
23rd of May.
Yeah, it's a while away. Yeah.
A while away, yeah. Okay, we don't watch the last Go Step game. Maybe see how that goes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Was there anything else then you want to?
No.
Anything else? Oh, well, there was one thing. Did you see? Jens Lehmann's a racist now?
I didn't see that.
Didn't see that?
I did, yeah. That was.
Damn, I mean, German is a strange language. I did French in school. I didn't do German, but they seem to have a word for everything, don't they? And the word I'm referring to this week in German is token black man, which is the phrase that Jens Lehmann accidentally tweeted to the black pundits on German TV. He said, I think his name was David or something like that. It's like, he said, so was David your... I'll find the word. I'll find the word. I want to do this justice. I want to do this racist instant justice and not misquote the man.
He tweeted
he said,
that.
Is Ist Dennis einschlägt Quotenschweizer? And that translates to, is Dennis really your token black man? Quotenschweizer is token black guy. That's why. Which I like that there's quote in there, like a quota of, so like you can see the kind of the Latin origins of the words, you know. But damn, I mean, we've all been there. Not the racial abuse,
definitely not.
Not the racial incident part, but I mean, when you're talking about somebody and you accidentally text them, what the fuck was up with Will today? And I text that to Will, and you're like, what? You're like, oh. And of course, in the year of our Lord 2021, the right thing to do is to screenshot the message and put on your Instagram story, which is exactly what Dennis did. Dennis Diego, who's a pundit for I think Sky Germany.
Could you imagine being lame and getting that notification? Oh, I'm tagged in something on Instagram.
Well, he knows first, like he sent it to him, and he's like, oh fuck, and then like just read or seen or whatever, and then like 5 minutes later you get a notification on Instagram. Oh no.
And then you get loads of notifications.
Yeah, and then you get 3 missed calls from Sky Germany telling you you're sacked. I mean, needless to say, he was sacked. You know, needless to say that is like, yeah, that's one, he's not the token black guy, he's a respected member of the staff, and 2, you're sacked. Yeah, that's fucking gas. I mean, it's not gas. I mean, it's still pretty bad, but it's just kind of like, you know, in what context was he saying that? Like, what? Like, why was he saying like?
Who even still thinks a token black guy in 2021? Like, everything's so much more diverse and accepting. Remember the token black guy joke in, was it Not Another Teen Movie or Road Trip or one of them? Think of how badly those movies have aged, and he's still using those jokes.
Or Token in South Park. I mean, it's you know, it's an age-old kind of thing. But like I said, the instance is funny. I just find it funny that the Germans have a specific word for it.
Yeah, why do they have that?
We were saying before about like the remontada, like the name for a comeback. It's like, man, like I wish Irish had like kind of persisted. We don't need those cool words for like events. We really miss that, and the English don't have that shit. English is way too fucking matter of fact about it.
Put words together. Token black guy.
Yeah, and the worst thing is, and the reason I saw it was, this is the thing. It was like Arsenal Invincible, Jens Lehmann. Like, no, don't drag us in. It was just as if the year has been hard enough. Now Arsenal, the team of invincible racists. Like, come on, don't. That's not what it's about. Fuck that.
No, honestly, that is nonsense. Nonsense. All nonsense. But listen, I've been on that road before. Nonsense. Talking nonsense. Why should we accept somebody talking nonsense? Like, what would you say? Just why are you talking nonsense about us? Why are you talking rubbish?